Okay, we are live. Let's see if we have. Hey, Sue. We are live. Let me go in and tell them on Facebook. Good morning, Gerald. Good morning, Claudia. Good morning, Louise. I'm just going in and telling the groups that we are live now, just in case anybody missed it. Let's see. Two more. How's everybody doing this morning, or this afternoon, I should say? It's afternoon now. Did I get everybody? Good morning, Debbie. And one more. Okay, guys, and just so those who are going to watch this on replay, if you do not see the red live button in the top, I believe, left-hand corner, we are no longer live, but you can still send me your questions. 9 a.m. for you. That's right, it is morning for you. It's noon for me. Okay. Thank you, Sue, for helping me pick out a Pinteresting project this week. And it was pinned into the Pinteresting projects, but I accidentally deleted it and then added it back so that you guys could see the before and after pictures. If you guys have a Pinteresting project you want recreated, we do this once a month. This month I'm doing two because we had a special request back in February and then again this week, and I forgot it. And my apologies to Jamie for that one. And somebody else requested it, and I have not, I can't remember who it was, and I can't find it on my messenger. So if it was you, hi Karen, let me know. Let's go over, let me go ahead and play the intro and we'll get started and I'll cover everything. Okay. Sue's dancing around. All right. So this is today's project, guys. We're going to do this little gift set. And this one had the Mercy chocolates in it, but I went to 3 stores and couldn't find any. So I improvised, and I'll show you guys that on camera here in just a moment. But Monday's project, we're doing another Pinterest project. It's going to be this one. I have already created a file similar to it, and I plan to cut it and test it this afternoon. And I will get some photos and everything posted for you guys in the Times and all of that, the YouTube links, because there's been a lot of interest in this card. So we're going to recreate that one as well. So we're doing 2 projects this week from Pinterest. And this one again is going to be on Monday. Okay, and this one is today. So, for those of you who are patrons, thank you, I appreciate you. You have this file on the design tab that I designed. For those of you who do not support me on Patreon, I'm going to show you how to create this card because we're going to recreate it, semi-recreate it. We're not going to go into exact details because some of these are design space images, but we are going to make it. Let me go over and show you. This is the Pinteresting project right here. And this is the one that I recreated. Let me show you what the inside of ours looks like. Let's go over to the overhead camera and show you guys. So this is the one that I made. And you're just going to untie it. Now theirs had 2 holes in it, but I liked it better with 1. But it's totally up to you if you want to tie it with your bow in the front. I thought I had enough going on without that. And then you're just going to open it up. And inside we have the 2 tea bags. Compliments of Sue. She brought these to me from England on her trip last year, or she mailed them to me. And I had 2 I saved because they were pretty. The others are gone. And then, because I couldn't find the Mercy chocolates, now if you can find them, you can line those up in there. I did a honey to go, and you can get these online or at your, I got them at Publix. That's our local grocery store here. But I got a little honey pack, and then I did a piece of the Ghirardelli chocolate in there. But you could do a couple of honeys, whatever it is you want to do. And then I did a sweetener pack and a lemon pack. And I kind of taped those together and just slid them in with a glue dot. But it's just true lemon and a sweetener pack. And then, of course, the spoon. Now, this spoon is a real spoon. I don't know if you can find the to-go little wooden spoons, things like that. You can put stirrers, whatever it is that you have in here. You could even get a baby spoon. I think that's what this is, but I don't know. I think it's from a relish set, actually, that I have. And it fits in there perfectly. So you can take it in and out and stuff like that. And I'm going to use it in this tutorial to show you guys how to put that piece in there. Whatever piece that you're using, you'll need that. So, and then you've got all your pieces cut. So let's go over back over to Design Space and let me show you how I recreated this. There we go. Oh, Pat, okay. Well, have fun on your family reunion, Pat, and I'll see you on the next video. Yeah, Sue, and with this little pack, you can actually, you can change it up. Do coffees in it because, you know, coffees come in the little to-go things now like tea bags too. So if you have a coffee drinker, you can just very easily change it up. They also have the little, like you see here, these little creamer packs. They have like honey sticks. They have, for teas or whatever, they have local honey sticks. They have these in coffees, instant coffees. So you can change this up and do just about anything you want. You can do sugar packs in the back and do your coffees here. All sorts of little things. So this will work for coffee, tea. You can do sweets in there. You could do different types of candies in here all the way through it. So it's very versatile. It isn't just for tea. You guys can change it up to be whatever you want it to be. Just use your imaginations and whatever. If it's for a graduation gift, put some cash and some cards and some candies and things like that in there. Makes a super card to go with a shirt or something like that, you know. You could put just about anything you want in here. Just unlimited. So what I did, these images right here in this group are all Design Space images, guys. They are, so you can go and find whatever you want to decorate the front of this with. And you'll see here, I used, I think that's the T-back. I don't know what that is. Don't ask me what that is. That's a font. Okay, that's the font that I used in the Moms, where I did the writing on the front. That's what that is. And then right here is a tea bag. And what I did is I sliced that off, and I cut this out of one material and this out of another instead of doing two or doing one out of one. So if you're doing two, you know, split it up and do it how you want. If you want two materials, or you can leave it as whole and do just one material. So that was from there. And then this said tea time on it. And I just used a couple of pieces out of there and changed it and took the tea time and got rid of it and put my own saying on there. And then I changed this teapot to draw and put that in. And then we have a little heart. So here's your heart. Here's the tea bag all sliced up. Here's the teapot where I changed it to draw from the outline. And that's very simple to do. You can do that with any shape, guys, and anything in Design Space. If you have the shape here, you want a diamond, you can change it to draw, and now it's going to draw that outline. So you can add that to anything you want. So you can add decor to your projects from your images in Design Space. And just so you can see how I did that teapot, let's get the teapot. I think that's the one. It doesn't really matter. There's some in here that are already drawn, but if you want to do like a coffee kettle, anything that you like, you can bring those images in. Simply go up to the line type and change it to draw. You can also change them to score if you want them to score, so you know where to place it. And I have done that, guys. If you're like me, sometimes I am challenged when it comes to placing an object. So let's say, for instance, I wanted this to be cut out. Oops, I always do that. If I wanted this to be cut out and then I was going to put it on the front and I wanted to make sure that it was going to be exactly center, I would change one to score and one to cut. And I'm going to let my Cricut score on my cardstock where that's going to be stuck. And then when I cut this one, I have a score line and it tells me exactly where to put it. Hi, Jamie. So don't think that just because an image comes in as a cut, that you have to use it as a cut, because you don't. You can score it, you can draw it, you can use it for image placement, just like this one up here. If I wanted to make sure that I got this dead center on the front, I could duplicate that. Let me detach. I would detach all this. I wouldn't leave it on there because there's just no need. And then I would change this to a score. I would place that score and let it align it center, horizontally, vertically, or dead center, and then attach it. I know exactly where I need to place this when it's cut because I let my Cricut tell me where to put it. So that's just a little tip that you guys can use when, if, like I said, especially with small pieces and you don't know exactly where you want them, but you know that it needs to be centered well, you can change your images to score so that it's not seen and you can put your image right in place. So those are the images, Design Space images that I used. Again, put whatever you want on the front of those, and then you're just going to layer these pieces back up and glue them together, put them on the front. And I'll show you that when we get there. And then again, this is a piece that was together and I sliced it off so that I could cut it out of two different materials. And to slice, just remember that you can only slice 2 layers at one time. I'm sorry, wrong button. I'm not quite awake yet. I was up very late. So if I have 2 images, this is 1 image when it's together, but it's 2 in the layers panel now. But just remember when you're slicing that you need to only have 2 images selected. If you wanted to slice for whatever reason, pieces out of both of those, that circle out of both of those, it's not going to give me the slice option because I have 3 layers selected up here. So when you're slicing, you need to keep that in mind. How can I do it to make sure that it doesn't move? I can select my 2 squares and align them to the top, and I can weld them. Now that makes them 1 image. And then I can align that circle to the center, and then I can slice and then create that image in that fashion. All sorts of shapes you can use here just by playing with shapes. But you have to have only 2 layers to slice. So if you are getting this tea bag and you're going to use that or another image, but you don't want part of it that's attached to it, you just want to use a piece of it, you can do that. So just make sure that you only have 1 layer chosen when you put your other layer over it. Hey, Myrtle. So that's how we do that. And just, if you don't want the hole in the tea bag, guys, don't forget about your contour. Everybody's saying that contour only works part of the time. You have to have something on the image that can be contoured, first of all. And you see that I have 2 layers here, and I can contour that hole out. And I can bring it back. So if you're welding objects together, you have to make sure that if you're going to be using your contour, that you have something there to contour. Because like this square, you notice there's nothing here on contour. There's nothing to contour. There's nothing to take out. If I contour it, it's the same thing as me deleting it. It's just going to be gone because I've taken out the square. So that's why contour isn't available. It has to have something to contour out of it. If I had sliced that and then decided later, that circle's in the wrong place, I don't want it there, then I can go back. Now I can contour it because it has something to contour. There's something there. Okay? And then I can contour it out and make it a square again. But you have to have something to contour for your contour to work. And it works with text as well. They're saying that it doesn't work with text. It does. If you weld your text for your projects, it's just a habit that I'm in to weld, because if I'm going to change it, I need it to say something else, chances are I'm just going to type it again. Okay? Because I can go in here, for those of you who don't remember, even if you've welded it, you can right click down here at image info, and it's faint, but it tells me that I used the Cricut font, the font Cricut Sans. So I know what font I used, even though I welded it. Okay? And it's very easy to change. What if I meant for that to say test? I can contour, I can take out the X, I can come over here and type the letter S. I want to make sure I got it in caps. Type the letter S. I can slide it in there. And let's say that T doesn't line up. I can take that T out. Like I said, it's just easier for me to retype it, but you can change your text. You just have to play with it. Now, if you've written a book, because that's not what your text and all in Design Space is designed for. If you've got this big long poem, or you've written this big long sentiment in your thing, then you probably don't want to weld it unless you duplicate and hide a copy, because that's going to be a lot of stuff that you have to go and change. But you can change your text. You just have to go in and be creative and align them. So, and then you can weld that back together, and now you've changed that from text to test, and you can still see your image information. And that works for all. The image information works for everything. As you can see here, this is not gray. For some reason, the text is grayed out. They're working on that, but you can see. And it does work with uploaded fonts too. So your uploaded fonts are also going to tell you there as well. So now that we've covered all of that, and this heart right here just goes on that tea bag. Let's figure out how to design this. So if you've never made a design in Design Space and you've just done your Make It Now projects, you want to look at your image and decide what you're going to lay out. So to create this shape, the first thing that I did was got a rectangle. And I went into images, and I typed in a rectangle because I wanted rounded corners, and a square, when you stretch it, will skew the corners up. So you can go in and you can find a rectangle, and you can find them with decorative edges. I think that's the one I used, not sure. But you can see how these corners are, but when I stretch this and I unlock it, and I made mine 11.5 because I wanted the maximum length for my project, you can see how those corners skewed up a little bit. So you can go in and you can find whatever shape that you want for yours, and that's all you're going to do is just create your shape. And then you're going to create your inner piece. Let me double check that. And this is how I do my shapes. Guys, I keep a square just so I can use it for measuring when I'm designing. And this one I gave, I don't remember when I did, right at 3 inches, yeah, wide, 2 inches in height. So I made mine 3 by 11.5. So that's what you're going to start with to design something like this, is your first square 3 by 11.5. And then this inner piece was 2 inches. So, but the way that I did that is I determined how tall do I want it to be. And mine, I think I went 4 or 5 inches. Yeah, right at 4.75 inches. So 4.75 times 2 is 8, 9.5. So I figured out what my center piece was going to be. And then you can just, again, you can just change this to score, and then you can align that right there in the center, and that's going to create it. Or you can just put 2 separate score lines. It's up to you. This is going to cut, so it's not really going to matter, but you need to make sure that your square is 2 by 3, whatever your dimensions are going to be. So I need to change that to 3. And then lock it, and then align that center, and I have my score lines for the center. Super simple, super easy. You just need to determine how wide you want your base to be, and you can make it anything that you want it to be. Doesn't have to be what I used. If you want yours to be a little wider, a little narrower, you just need to determine that and then place it in the center, because you need to do that before you do your next panels. And those panels are these panels here. So I'm just going to group those for now. I'm not going to attach it so that I can move it around and I know where it's going to be. I'm going to duplicate it. Let me ungroup that and get rid of one. And then I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. And I like to make mine about a 1/4 inch smaller than my other so that it fits. And that shrunk up a whole lot. You see that right there? So I'm going to unlock it, and I'm just going to take it. I don't know why Design Space does that, but it does. To me, it should take a true 1/4 off of each dimension, but it doesn't. So I'm going to change that to 11.25. And now it fits. If I align that center, I could have left the score on there, but that's okay, to help me line up. But you can see that it's got about a 1/4 inch all the way around. And I'm just going to change the color of that so that we can see it on there. Now, to slice that, I want that square back, and I had it at 3 by 2. So I'm going to unlock it and make it 3 by 2. I think I did that backwards, didn't I? Yeah, no, that's right, 3 inches wide. Where did it go? There it is. Now I've got that, and it's the same dimension as this right here, but I need to take that 1/4 inch off of those as well. Okay, so I'm going to align, center. I am going to make this 3.25, just so it's wider, and then 2.25, I'm sorry, 2.5, because I need that 1/4 inch on both pieces. So I'm going to do that. Make it big enough to, the width is not really important as long as you don't have little pieces hanging off the side. That's why I'm trying to make it wider, so I don't have to do all that touch-up slicing. But you want to make sure that your height is correct. So I'm going to select that piece and the panel piece, and I'm going to align it, center, and slice. And now I'm going to get rid of that trash. And now you can see, I might, if I were in the real world, I would redo that. That's a little wide for me, so I might go, instead of taking a 1/4 inch off of each end, do an 1/8, 0.125 off of each end, so, or maybe a little bit more. So just determine what you want, and then you can unlock this one and just shrink it to fit into that space like you want it. And make sure that your width stays the same, the 3 inches. Oops, nope, this was 2.75. That was right. I told you I'm not awake this morning. 2.75. And then lock that back. And now you have your panels. What I did is, while they were all in place, this piece I want centered, so I'm just going to select it and align, center. Just the center one. I have not moved these other two at all. And I've left them as one piece. You can see that. I'm going to select those, and I am going to weld, because I don't mind losing that little bit of paper in between the two. I don't mind that at all. That way I can move this piece around. I can select it, align it, center, and not have to worry about 3 pieces. Okay? Then you're going to need your hole in this piece so that you can thread your ribbon through. And what I did, got a shape, and I like to make mine 0.15. You guys can make the hole the size you want. If you want 2 holes, you can do 2 holes, doesn't matter. It's totally up to you. If you're going to do 1 hole, you're just going to select it, place it about where you want it to be. You're going to align and center everything horizontally. Okay? You don't want to move anything. Don't move anything at this point. So you're going to select that. You're going to hold your shift key and select your panels. You can do it either way. And then you're going to get your slice option, and you're going to slice it. Without moving anything, I am going to select that back panel and ungroup it, because I don't want my score lines, and I'm just going to arrange and move it back to the back. I'm going to select that dot again, and I'm going to select that back panel, and I'm going to slice it. I'm still not moving anything. I'm going to arrange and move that back to the back. I am going to select the panel piece and the back piece, and I am going to flip it vertically. While it's flipped vertically, I'm going to select that one and the panel piece again, and again I'm going to slice. Then I'm going to select the dot and the back panel and slice. Why did I do that way? Does anybody know why I sliced it that way instead of moving that dot around? I did it that way so that my holes were in the exact same spot on both sides, so that when I fold that and run my ribbon through, they are perfectly aligned with each other at the same exact spot. They're on the same spot, so when I line up my panel, I know that my panel is going to line up. Let me arrange and move that back to the back. Everything is going to line up perfectly, and when I fold it up, the holes are going to match. One's not going to be off to the side over here while one of them's in the center. So if you just flip your image and don't move anything, you can continue slicing to make sure that you get both ends equally. Does that make sense for you guys? Is everybody following me so far? And then I'm going to align, center my score lines, and I'm going to attach, and I'm done with those pieces. So I have those pieces done. And that's how we created our base for this one. And then basically for these straps to hold everything in, they're just rectangles, guys. And you'll need to determine, depending on what you are using, tea bags, coffee bags, honey sticks, whatever you're using, you'll need to determine the size of those. And what I did is I just did 2 different sizes. And you can cut extras, make them whatever. You can trim them off if they're too long. You just trim them. And I'm going to show you a couple of other little tricks when we go to put it together, because I cut some short, some long, so that you guys could see. You can do different things. So that's all that is. It's just a rectangle. You're going to go in, get your shape. I believe I made these a 1/2 inch by 5.5 and a 1/2 inch by 3.5. Yep. So you just want them to the same width as far as length goes. Whatever you need for your goodies that you're putting in yours. That's all you need. So that's all of those. I'm going to slide those over to the side. And I have a square. Now this is my little box that's in the center. And you need to decide by measuring your candy or whatever, the width of it, how wide it is. And that's going to determine what size you make this and how tall you want it to be. Because this is totally up to you guys. How can you tell what size it's going to be? Okay, unlock your square. And if say you're using a Mercy candy and it's 2.95 or 2.75 wide, you want to give it a little space. So 2.95, because you want wiggle room. You don't want it to fit in there tight, so tight that they can't get it out or you break it putting it in. So that's what you need to determine, and that's going to determine the base. And that's going to determine what your base size is. And, oops, I locked it. Didn't mean to do that. So once you've determined how wide your candy is, you want to make your base just a little bit wider. Now, if you're going to put 3 pieces of candy in, you may only want it to be this deep, or let's see, this long, the length. That's how long you might want it to be. But if you're putting 6 pieces in, you may want it to be this long, and you're going to have to lay those pieces down and measure them. And you can use some sticky dots and stick them together so that they don't move while you measure them, so that you have your overall size. And that's the size you want to make this square. That's going to determine your base, okay? Then you'll have to determine how high up on the candy or whatever it is that you're putting in that little box that goes in the center, how high you want it to come up on those products. So once you've determined that, then you're going to put your other square in. And this is what I do, guys. I just make them the same width. So if this one is 2069, then this is going to be 2069. So I know that they're the same width. And I have to duplicate it for the other side. Okay, and what I do is I just duplicate this one on the bottom and put it off to the side, and duplicate this one and put it off to the side so I know. And then, of course, this is going to be the same width of your candies. Okay, so if I were to flip this around 90 degrees, it's going to be the same width. Okay, maybe it's just a little bit more, but you can add a little bit more on there if you want to. Not going to hurt anything. But basically, they're all going to be the same width. So you'll need to put 2 lines down each side. It is the same width. Okay. Don't want to twist that. But I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to flip it 90 degrees. And then I'm going to make it the same overall length to match my 3 pieces here. It has to be the same length. And then you're going to duplicate that. Okay. Once you have all those pieces determined, the bottom, the sides, and the front and back, then you're just going to weld those together. And once you've welded them together, remember I said I kept these. You can change that to a score, plain and simple. Align it right in the middle. And then off of that, you're just going to do 2 cut lines. And to get cut lines, you get your score. Whatever the width was, you can save one of the width to tell you what that width was. If you want, you're going to change it to cut. You're going to shorten it down. Of course, you're going to flip it 90 degrees. And now you've got your cut lines to give you your cuts. And you're just going to duplicate and put those on there and attach. And then you can determine the width of this and put in your score lines on each side of it, giving you your little base piece. And that's all there is to that. And I'm going to show you how that goes together, and it's going to make a whole lot more sense when you see it go together. But it's just a basic, sturdy little box to hold your candy pieces or your little supplies in your box. And to hold the spoon, basically, guys, it's a strip. Let's get that. Let's just make that my strip. You want to make this the width that you need to hold, like mine is a spoon. I measured this for the spoon and to make sure I gave it a little extra space. And I will show you that. My spoon, you can't see me measuring it. The widest part of the handle was just over a 1/2 inch. So I need this to be a little more than that, just over a 1/2 inch. So set it at a 1/2 inch and then stretch it out just a tiny bit. And that's going to determine how wide you make that for your holder. To get your tabs, I just use a hexagon and a square. I make the square bigger. I take the 2 and I slice it, and I get rid of all the trash, and then rotate that 90 degrees. Make sure it's the same height or just shy of that. I duplicate it. I flip it horizontal. Weld. You can also, again, duplicate that and change it to your score so that you have your score lines. Once you've welded all of that together, creating the shape, pop in your score lines. As you can see, that's exactly what I did here. If I detach it, there you go. And that way I just align them, center, and attach. And now I have my holder. That's all there is to creating a piece like this that you've seen on Pinterest. Did everybody understand all of the steps? And basically what I'm showing you, because this file I gave to my patrons on their design tab, and I've showed you guys how to create it. If you are unable to create it, contact me and I will help you. As a matter of fact, I may make this file public since it's for Mother's Day, to give you guys a project. But I want you to learn to try to create your own as well. That's how you're going to learn design space, is going in and playing and putting it together. Get yourself a pack of the craft card stock from Hobby Lobby or Michael's, Joann's, wherever it is that you shop, and use that inexpensive paper to cut and play and line things up and cut and say, okay, well, this didn't fit. I need to make this a little bit wider. And then you can go in and you can say, okay, that didn't work. Let me add 1/10 of an inch to it up here and make that 0.1571 and see if that will work. And just cut the one piece. Use your scraps and create. And that way you know how to piece things together and make things. And because this can be used in many different designs. You don't need to use it just for this. The knowledge and stuff that I'm giving and showing you guys here can be applied in just about all of the designs that you do, where you're using the scores and you're cutting and you're using shapes and slicing them to create the shapes that you need. Did that make sense? Yeah, Jamie, I noticed too that when I change the size of one, for some reason it doesn't, like a square, it will do it, but on other shapes, it doesn't take off correctly. I don't know why. But if I had this at 3 inches and I wanted to make it 2 points, well, let me unlock that. Yeah, see, it didn't even do it on that one. Once you change it out of square, it doesn't take off correctly. I don't know why. So that's the only thing that you have to watch when you're making panels and stuff and you're aligning, that it's taking off the correct amount on both sides when you do your panels, because it will, even with a card without any corners or anything, it won't be true unless you go in and unlock it and true it up. Okay, so let's put it together really quick. Let me go over to the camera. And guys, this goes together really, really, really quick. And I've got some mix and match pieces because I did some test cuts and things. So don't pay attention to my mix match pieces. It's going to be a little different from the one that I did here where I had the burgundies. I may have different colors. But you're just going to fold on your score lines, both pieces. And notice I have no holes in mine. Told you. I had messed up and forgot the holes and had already cut mine. And then you have your panels. And again, you could have made a duplicate set of these panels if you had wanted, and aligned them right up on there and had it score these out so you knew exactly where to lay them. If you wanted to, that way there's no guesswork. It takes the guesswork out of, did I get that straight? But I didn't do that either. And the reason that I'm not putting my holes in yet is because I want my holes in the same places. So I have to get my panels on there in order to make sure that I get those in. And if you're going to be wrapping any of your bands around, you need to do that before you put your panels on. But I didn't do mine that way because I wanted specific placement. So you can do this 2 ways. You can put your bands on that's going to hold your things. Just plan it out before you glue your panels on if you want to do a wraparound. because they would have to go on if you're using ribbon and stuff like that before your panels. They have to go on with your panels, rather, glued to the back of them. So now I have those, and guys, I'm just going to use my crocodile to put my hole in there in a guesstimation point, because I didn't put holes in my design before I did it. So now I have my holes in there. The next thing is the little box, and I folded this one backwards, and that's why I recut one, and it's a different color, but that's okay. I'm putting that to the inside. So you're going to fold on your scores, just fold them up together, fold in the side tabs, and you can get fancy with this if you want to and cut little corners out of these. I didn't find a need to, because you're not going to see them anyway. I don't know if you can see inside the box, but you can't see those tabs because I hid them. And I'm just going to put a little glue on this center tab. And I am going to, this is the front of my box. So determine what you want the front to be, and that's the piece you're going to glue on first. Okay? So if it's patterned like this, and I want this to be the front, you want to glue your tab to the inside of the front. And do a better glue job than I'm doing. I'm doing this kind of in a hurry so you guys can get on with your Saturday. So that's created the front. Then I'm going to glue these to the inside to hide where those tabs meet. So I'm going to put glue on the outside of these. And just slip it right inside. And hide those tabs, creating the box. And then this will be to the back. Okay. And then you're just going to glue right to the bottom. And again, you could put in a score to show you where to line that up on that panel with your score lines if you're not good at lining up. And let that dry. Now this is the piece for my spoon, and it has the score lines on there. Just going to fold those in. And set it to the side first. This is where my honey and my chocolate are going to go. And then, where's my tea bags? And I'm going to have to pull these out because I forgot to get some more. There's my honey and my Truvia. Those are going to go right here. Now you can use a glue dot and just glue those down, whatever you want. Remember I said I cut strips at both sizes. This is the 3.5. So all I did was just fold one side over, and then I slipped it over my pack that I had together, and then I bent the other side over, and then I just put a little glue on this end and a little glue here and glued those together. And now you can glue dot them down or glue them down, and I just glued my band down. And just make sure that it's loose enough that they can pull it out. It doesn't have to be super, super tight. And now this is the one for my spoon. So I determined where I want the spoon to be. And notice I have the spoon at the top. And that's so that when it closes, it doesn't interfere. But you do have room, and that's why the box is like that, if you want your spoon to go this way. Totally up to you how you put it in there. So just play around with it. And this thing is tarnishing. All I did was put glue on one side of that. and determined where I wanted it to be. By laying my spoon in there, and then just get it right about where you want it and let that be glued down. And then you can just wrap that around and glue it. It's not gonna, it's not stuck yet. Let me get it on there straight. Give it a second to dry, because you will pull it off of there if you don't. And then I'm gonna glue the other side. While that's drying, my tea bags. Gonna determine how I want those. Do I want one strap or two? That's up to you, however you want to do it. Same thing, wrap it around. A little glue on each one. And I'm gluing the inside of one and the outside of the other, and that's so that they, when you, let's see if I can get one here. When you glue them that way, you glue the outside of one, the inside of the other, and that way you don't have the corners lifting up from either the outside or the inside. So that's why I do it that way, in case anybody's wondering. Oh, drop my strip. And again, just fold them around your item. They should be long enough. If they're not, use your scraps and just cut another one. Just make sure that you cut them the same width. And then I just kind of slipped one into the other, like so. And I glued the one down where I wanted it. Make sure that you have enough room from your hole for your ribbon. And then I slid this one down just past the end of the other tea bag so that it was not interfered with, and glued it down. Let's go back to the spoon portion, put some glue on that tab. And then I just tucked it in and let that dry. You want to let that dry. While that's drying, let's go ahead and get our ribbon. I'm using white ribbon because I don't have any more of that other color. I used the last little bit I had. And length of this, guys, is going to be your preference, how you want your bow or your twine, whatever. And I'm just going to feed it through. Let's say I am. If I can see, there we go. I'm having ribbon trouble today. There we go. In one side and out the other. Now if you do a double hole, you'll just have to double that up. Pull it up even and tie your bow. I'm not going to tie it completely yet so that we can get that spoon in there. And then we're going to place our pieces on the front. Now I did pop dot those up. So get your pop dots. I'm using these from Joann's, the Miss Sparkle. They come in assorted sizes. And I just put a few on there so that it wouldn't bend on the edges. And the green goes first, I believe. Yes. And you can layer this up any way that you want. I just wanted it to be shown on the front, so I went with the green. Hey, Kathy. I'm a little bit off. Don't set yet. There we go. That's why I like glue rather than tapes it. I have a second to work with it. I think I lost my heart. There it goes. And then you'll need to determine which way you want your tea bag to go on there. If you want it to go to the right or to the left, like so. And I'm just going to do mine the same way. So I'm going to glue my little heart down. And you can use any decor that you want on your little tea bag. You could even have your Cricut right on there. Get that out of the way. And then I want mine to hang just off the edge of the box. So I am going to put some glue on. Oops. If I can hold on to it. Just on that, where I want it. And then I placed this piece. Peel all the papers off. Place that one on. And then I cut this out of vellum, guys. It was just like a Swiss dot vellum. And I tried to set it so that it was in line with the tea bag paper or string. And then just a little bit of art glitter. And you can see that it doesn't show through. The art glitter is not showing through there. But you'll want to do it lightly. If you get too heavy-handed, you can see a little bit of it right now, but it will dry clear and matte, and then you won't see it. And vellum does have a tendency to curl when you get glue on it and it gets wet, but it will relax itself when it dries, okay? And so now that should be dry enough without pulling it up. And I'm just going to slip that spoon in there. And it is a little tight for mine, so it will loosen up. Get that in there, and then you're just going to tie it. Oops. Just put my candy back in there. And it's complete, guys. Oops. Looks like I'm having bow tying issues too. Let's do it this way. And there you go. Got your little kit done. Hi, Ann. It's okay. It'll be available back on the playback. So then you have your whole little kit. Of course, my spoon goes here and my sweetener's here, but I've got them in that one, so I didn't bring enough out here. Now, guys, you can use the centers. This is what I was going to tell you, and I forgot. I put them over here so that I would have them for this, and then forgot to tell you guys. Your tea bags and stuff, when you're doing them, if you prefer to glue dot them on the backs of these so that you don't waste these pieces that are cut out of the front piece, you can glue those on there instead of using the straps, and they will be just as pretty. Maybe put a piece of twine or a bow on them and stick those on as well. So you don't have to waste these pieces. Line them up and use those for your tea bags or your sweetener packs. put those on there. So again, this is not just for tea, guys. You can do it for candies. You can do it with coffees, because the coffees come in the little bags and stuff now. The instant coffees come in the sticks, the creamers, all of that kind of stuff. So much you can do with this. You can do money and cards and candies, because all of these pieces you can change out to be whatever you need it to hold, whatever you need. And then again, the center, you can change this box up. You've got up to about 2.75 that you can go in the width of this. And then you've got almost 2 inches this way. So you've got lots of stuff that can go in there. Does anybody have any design space questions? Do you have any project issues that you're having this week? Anybody need any help with anything before we sign off tonight or today? Oh, good point, Louise. Louise says that when you just take off of one side, it takes off a percentage of the full length. So I just unlock mine and take off what I want so that I know that it's proportioned to what I want. And sometimes I just eyeball it. Yeah, and these are great. They go together really quick. They cut fast. There's nothing to it. They go together pretty quick. And then all you have to do is put the goodies in them, and they're good to go. You can, like I said, you can do tea. You can do coffees. You can do, how about the water bottle drinks? The drink mixes, you can throw those in there with some candies, or the little packs of crackers and stuff. That would be cute too. Maybe for a sports team gathering or something. There's so many possibilities with this. You can do so many things with it, and it goes together, like I said, really cute, quick. And the base, I think you can get probably 3 out of a 12 by 12 sheet, and then still have some to make your strips with if you wanted to cut those by hand or by machine. Can do both. I cut some, the ones that I used today I cut by hand. These I cut by the machine. Okay, guys, I thank you for joining me, and don't forget Monday 7 p.m. we will be doing this project. So it's not going to be exactly like that, but same concept. So this is what we're going to be doing on Monday night. Yes, Sue. Takeaway gifts at a card crop, weddings, birthdays, all sorts of stuff. Could put all the little birthday goodies in there. Use any theme you want. From Disney to any of them. All right, guys. Have a happy Saturday. See you guys on Monday, and we will do the, I'm calling it the greenhouse window card. So that's what we're going to do on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I will see you guys there. You have a wonderful Saturday, and please, when you make your projects, post them in the group. Let's see what you've done with them. Let's see what your take was on it. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, patrons. Greatly appreciated.